The first site on the trail is Parliament House, an imposing stone structure in classical Corinthian style. And the staircase is granite from West Island. Granite is what we call an igneous rock. And igneous rocks actually form maybe about 20 kilometres below the surface of the Earth, where it's hot enough that rocks actually melt, and they melt into what we call magma. So when this hot liquid rock cools down, it starts to form solid mineral grains, which means we go from a liquid below the surface to a beautiful stone that we can eventually carve out and construct our lovely buildings with. This pattern of large feldspar crystals in a sea of tinier crystals tells us it cooled really slowly. And this slow cooling had the advantage of creating a rock with very few fractures. And this is obviously ideal for creating a structurally sound building stone and strong buildings. So let's head on over to West Island, where this granite was sourced from, to find out more about where this rock actually came from.
So let's go over to West Island and see how a rock formed 20 kilometres below the surface of the Earth has become an island of granite. So I'm standing above King's Beach here, and that island out behind me is West Island, the source of the granite that was used in the foundations of Parliament House. The stone was quarried from the east end over there, and you can see why those huge boulders of jointless granite would have been attractive to the stonemasons. What I'm standing on here is Kanmantu Group. That's a series of sandstones that would have been laid down in a deep sea environment, not too different to what's out there. Sometime back in the Cambrian period, around 514 million years ago, that's when life was just getting started. Originally, the sediments would have been laid flat at the bottom of the ocean, but since then there's been a lot of movement of tectonic plates and deep burial of these sediments by much younger sediments, and all that heat and compression has tilted the rocks up on edge, so you can see the bedding now in these layers almost vertical. During that process of heating and compression, some parts of the lower crust get melted into a liquid magma, and that magma melts its way up through the crust and eventually comes to a level where it's cool enough that it starts to recrystallise to form a rock that we call granite. And that's what makes West Island over there. Now we know from radiometric dating of that granite on West Island that it's about 487 million years old. All that happened perhaps 20 kilometres below the surface of the Earth. What we see now is the result of 487 million years of erosion by waves and weather to expose the granite on West Island. So while it took over 60 years to construct the Parliament building, that was just the blink of an eye compared to the time it took to make the stones and transport them to the site.